Hey guys, Bear here. I am going to answer, well, not really answer a question, just tell you guys a story. Um, Everybody has a story, and I'm going to tell you mine. How I got into the fitness scene, how I got into strongman. Basically, a short little video on, how I got to be Bear, or the Bear, wherever you want to call me. Um, um, you know, when I was a kid, I was growing up in Los Angeles. My dad lived in San Diego, my mom lived in Los Angeles. Spend a couple weekends in San Diego, come back to LA. That's where I went to school and everything. And, we didn't really grow up in in elementary school. It wasn't really the safest area. I remember my mom, being, pretty scared to let us go outside and play. And, my sister and I, we didn't really get a chance to go outside and play. I mainly stayed indoors and read. I read a lot growing up. My mom tells me stories about how I wouldn't go anywhere without a book. And it's not so different now. I still love to learn. I still love reading, but I just don't have really the time to do it for fun. I mainly do it for school now. But, that mixture of not being very active mixed with the almost coddling of my grandmother. To her, I was her prince, and she would always, I remember actually being in the backyard, just hanging out with, my next door neighbor, Ryan, and, she would actually come outside with like a spoonful of, rice and fish and just be like, oh, just have one more bite, just have one more bite. And I'd eat that, and then 2 minutes later she'd come running out again, oh, one more bite, one more bite. And, that's kind of like how my life was for the first couple of years. I was just eating a lot, no portion control, no activity except for like recess at school. But, I didn't really have a lot of friends growing up. So even during recess, I wasn't really playing. I was more sitting and reading or sitting and drawing. I didn't really have a lot of friends until, maybe junior year in high school. Then I had like 2 friends. But, it's that mixture of inactivity and, being kind of the loner, my whole life. And, kind of grew to me becoming a food addict. If I was upset, I would eat. If I was sad, if I was happy, if I was bored, if I was content, if I had nothing to do, if I had a lot to do, if I was stressed, you name it, I coped with it by eating. And that's where, the pounds started coming on and on and on. And of course my mom was worried and my dad was worried. And, my mom tried to get like personal trainers and stuff when I was not ready to go through personal training when I was a kid, basically. And, too many male personal trainers think that all guys like to do, like, in order to get inspired, guys like to be called pussies and be called wimps and all that macho bullshit. And, it doesn't really work with me. Being called a pussy doesn't make me want to work harder. It makes me kind of want to just walk away from you and just be like, all right, I'm going to get away from this guy. I find my inspiration from within. I don't really care about being called names or being called a wimp or anything like that, because, it's, who are you to tell me what I should be doing? That's the way I used to think about it. So sadly, I had a lot of personal trainers growing up who their way of inspiring was getting in your face, kind of like boot camp style, and just calling you a maggot and a pussy. And, I would pretty much go home crying. I mean, sure, call me a pussy. I'm a pussy. I don't really care. I'm a pretty sensitive guy. That's just how I am. I cry at movies. I like to hang out with my dog and cat, and that's just the way I am. And if that's who I am, that's who I am. I can't really change that. So back to what I was talking about. Sorry, I just lost my train of thought. All right. So fast forward to about sophomore year of high school. Went to my doctor with my mom, and my mom was in the weight room. He took my weight, pushing 480. Took my blood pressure, through the roof. Did my blood panel a week before it came in. Just cholesterol was insanely high. My blood pressure, my heart rate was stupid high. I was pre-diabetic. I mean, it was bad at, 14 years old. It's pretty awful. And he basically just got on my face and said, "You're going to die. You gotta get your life together or you're going to die." And of course I was bummed out by that. And I didn't really tell my mom. I just told her I was upset and I'd like to go to Barnes and Noble because, I like to read. That's the thing I did. I ate and I read. So we went to Barnes and Noble, which was down the street from the doctor's office, and I picked up a Muscle and Fitness magazine, and it was an Arnold Schwarzenegger edition. Basically had his workout from when he was 17 years old, his diet plan from when he was 17 years old. And, I basically did that for the summer. And I got my, I kind of just took charge and I did it. And, fast forward 5 months and I was down to, 5-6 months, I was down to 300. And then by the time, football season started, I was down to 270. And I decided, hey, I'm going to do football. Worst decision of my life. I was really bad at football. Horrible. Really, really awful at football. But through football and through my PE coach, I got into lifting weights. And, also through the lifting of the weights, from the magazine. And, that got me interested in powerlifting, and powerlifting got me interested in strongman. And here I am now, now I've got, these ambitions and goals, to eventually get to America's strongest. That's a huge goal of mine. In my head, I have a timeline of 3 to 4 years. I find it realistic if I keep going, but I tend to, I lose my motivation pretty easily, so I have to make sure I'm on it 100% no matter what's going on. And, that's my story. And, it's important for everybody to know, stories and how people got into the industry that they're in. I always want to be in the fitness industry. My goal is to eventually open up a training center. Not really a gym where members can come and go as they please, but a training center where athletes come and train, or, whether you're in high school or you do strongman, powerlifting, bodybuilding, I want to have an amazing center in my head. It's perfect in my head, but just, as many people know, any idiot could open up a gym. It's just as long as you have money. So now it's just working. It's time for me to work. It's time for me to get the money, build up my savings and all that jazz. But, I want to know what you guys' story is. And I ask you guys to do a lot of things for me. You guys, still haven't contacted me. I ask you guys to ask me questions, but, I get it. You want to watch the videos and you don't really want to send things my way. But, if you want, I really would love to know what you guys want to hear me talk about. And I want to hear your stories. So, either record a video and put it up on the page, or, send me a message or something. I'd really like to hear what you have to say. So, you guys be good. Have a good day.